As most of y'all know, I don't do Christmas. I think it's pagan. So I figured I'd go through the old encyclopedias. And I'd read you some stuff out of the old encyclopedias. So this one right here, to start off with, is 1968 and 1768. And this one right here is number 5. This is Christmas. On December 25th, the feast of Nativity of our Lord. It has to be the Satan Lord. Commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ. KBRs is the most popular communion of the church year. It is observed as the birthday of the Savior is attended with the secular custom often drawn from pagan sources. Even in this book says it's pagan sources. Alright? Indeed, both Christians and Anthony's, which that is Magi's, which falls 12 days later on January the 6th, are transport pagan celebrations of the winter solstice, and so closely linked that their origins cannot be discarded separately. In other words, they're saying we can't talk about them separately. They have to be together. This is false doctrine. Don't put the real Jesus Christ in with the pagan stuff. The Christmas on December the 25th is the first known to have been celebrated in Rome in the second quarter of the 4th century, when it commemorated the birth of Christ. There was yet no infamy. In the eastern part of the empire, a festival on January the 6th commemorated the manifestation of God in both the birth and the baptism of Jesus. In Jerusalem, however, only the birth was remembered, and there was yet no Christmas. So in the 4th century, they did not even have a Christmas there. They did not recognize it. So that is, okay, think about it. The Jews don't do it. They didn't in the 4th century. Okay? In the course of the 4th century, the celebration of 25th was adopted, except for in Jerusalem, and became the day when the birth was commemorated, the 6th, retaining its condition with the baptism. In the West, the process worked out differently. Infamy became a kind of doublet of Christmas, commemorating the best of the Magi to the infant Christ. The baptism being regarded to mere motion in the octave, the 8th day after the feast. Now here we go into some more about the Romans. December the 25th in Rome. This was the date of a pagan festival in Rome. Now, do we really want to celebrate what the Romans done? You know that saying that goes, when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do? Why would you want to crucify Christ? The Romans crucified him. Think about that. Okay. Alright, chosen in AD 274 by the Emperor Aurelian, Aurelian, as the birthday of the unconsecrated sun, which at the winter solstice began again to show of an increase of light. At some point before AD 336, a church at Rome established the commemoration of the birthday of Christ, the Son of Righteousness, on the same day. The evidence is concealed in the iconographic of the AD 5, no, sorry, it's Bible, AD 354, and an almanac of the use of Christians, which include a Christian's monarchy beginning with the entry of December 25th, Christ born in Bethlehem of Judea. It can be shown, however, from other parts of this iconography that Christmas was celebrated in Rome at least as early as 336, and that it stood at the beginning of the church year. It started at the beginning of the church. So, think about it. Rome did not want Christ being separate from them. So therefore, they adopted in all these other Christmas days, what they call Christmas, into the Christian church and all. And they're saying, oh, it's got to do with Christ, when it don't. Sure, God made the day. God made December 25th, but people made it a holiday. Alright, climax of Alexandria, AD 200, reported that Gnostics in Egypt celebrated the day of Christ's baptism on January the 10th. The others say January the 6th was the correct date. In either case, the date was thought to be an anniversary of the actual event. Clemens does not give the name of the festival. It earnestly refuses to January the 6th as a festival of the church in Egypt, as opposed to the communion by Gonos, I don't know what that word is, it's the same G word, came from nearly 2 centuries later. Between 360 and 400, John Casson made 2 visits to Egypt, where he noted that infamy was kept as the festival of both the birth and the baptism of Christ. So now think about this. How can Christ be birthed and have the same day as the baptism? And if you notice, it's cold. I don't think Jesus was going to be baptized in the cold. Everybody pretty well much waits till it's summertime to be baptized, which that would be the smartest thing to do. So, let me see what else I can find, and I will put some more on. The traditional custom connected with the Christmas have been derived from several sources as a result of the consciousness of the feast of Nativity of Christ and the pagan agriculture and solar observance of midwinter. In the Roman world, the Saturnalia, Saturnali, December the 17th through the 24th, was time of merrymaking and exchange of presents. See Saturn, and I will look at that one. But through Christmas festivals are indirectly influenced by these customs. The fact that Christmas was celebrated on the birth of the unconquered sun gave the season a solar background, connected with the calends of January the 1st, the Romans' New Year, when houses were decorated with greenish and lights, and presents were given to children and the poor. To those so settled observance were added the Grammanio Catholic Yale rites when the Telectric tribe pretended into Gael, Britain, and Central Europe. Yelkites brought its own tradition of fasting and memory customs to celebrate, combined with Roman subtle and traditional New Year rites, special foods, and good fellowship. The Yule log and the Yule cakes, greenery and fir trees, was selling gifts and greeting, all commemorating different aspects of this festival season. Fires and lights, symbols of the warmth and lightening life, have always been associated with the winter festival, both pagan and Christian. However, green, a symbol of survival, have a long association with Christmas festival, probably dating from the 8th century, when Saint Boniface, combined with the Christianizing of Germany, and dedicated the fir tree to the Holy Child to replace the sacred oak of Odin. Now, I don't see. I think we ought to get away from it. And let me look up some more of these books, and I will look at Saturn. Believe it or not, there's 5 Nicholases. So let's just take a look at the first one. Now, Nicholas, the name of 5 popes and 1 anti-pope. Think about that. Got anti-popes as well as we do Antichrist. Wait a minute. Ain't a pope an Antichrist? Yeah. Because they don't believe in God. Not the same God. Alright, let's go up. Saint Nicholas the First, called the Great, in 867, Pope from 858 to 867, was the most forceful of the early medieval popes. Before his election in April 858, he had almost 15 years of service in the papal choir and in all the acts of pontificate, I can't say that, he urged the supreme of Rome's see. His reign was marked by 3 memorial consensus which left their mark in history. The first was that in which he supported the claim of the unjustly degraded parchments of the Constantinople Ingus, but 2 of his instances, the excommunication of Parchus, the reveal of Inigus by the Pope, 1863, and the Constantinople of Nicholas by the Pontiffs, 1867, were steps towards the permanent separation between the European and the Western churches. The second great struggle was that of Leonor of Leonorine about the divorce of his wife. Theophagus, the Pope, not only garnished the whole proceeding against Theophagus, but even created a present by disposing the Archbishop of Colonial of the Tigris, who had brought to Rome the liberals of the synop of missal that declares the marriage null. The third great essential affair of the pontifical, I can't say that, was that which was the right bishop to appeal to Rome against their metanonicals was mentioned by the case of Rothad of Session, despite by him, of course, of Rams. Nicholas, a Stragal upholder of the Roman Church, privacy of justice, and reinstated Rothad in 865. Nicholas was indeed one of the Mr. Theists of the papal pinnacle of power, deeply depending on the writing of his great predecessor, Leo the Great. So there is part of one of this Nicholas. So let's check out the other. Nicholas II, yearhead, 1061, Pope from 1058 to 1061, was a Bulgarian and a bishop of Florence when about December 1058 he was elected at Syria to succeed Stephanus X in opposing to the anti-pope Benedict X. Was enthralled in January 1059. Wow. Nicholas II was a major feature in the reform, assist with the name of Hyderabad in the Latin Sable of April 1059, a milestone in the Georgian reform and in the history of the papacy. Nicholas entailed the famous decree on papal elections. In this, he was expressly reacting against the disorders that had preceded his own election. The leading part of the election was assigned to the 7 cardinal bishops who were deliberated together on the suitable candidate, and then to call in the other cardinals. The rest of the category of the people were to acclaim the choice. The emperor's part in the matter of dismissed with a venue-covered phrase. So there's part of the second one. Nicholas III is Gardinia Gentio Orsia, 1225 to 1280. Pope from 1270 to 1280. Was the son of a Roman senator, Marto Ros Ornini, who had been friends of St. Francis of Assisi and had played a great role during the pontificate of Gregory the IX and in Innocent the IV, and in the conclave which led to the election of Caladius IV. Livia had made a cardinal deacon of St. Nicholas in Caris Tonolio and Innocent IV as early as 1244, and thus was well versed in the business of Rome Curia when he became Pope on November the 25th, 1277. The conspiracy source stressed his immovable personality, his vesture, and personal integrity. But also, his nephew became of the Danite, placed him in hell. He had been cardinal possessor of the Francis and the Pope in 1279, issued an important dual exodus qua Semite, which temporarily settled the struggle concerning the interpretations of the perfect property within the order. It revoked the conscience of concerning the use of money made by Innocent the Fourth, and compiled the letters ruling that all movable and immovable possessions of the order, except these serviced by the donors, and be in the ordership of the Holy See, which the Thayers were to have only the usufruct. Don't know what that is. So there we go with that one. So now let's look at Nicholas the Fourth. Pope from 1288 to 1292 was the first Franciscan to occupy the throne of St. Peter. He was elected to succeed Honorius IV after a vacancy portrayed by an agorism between the French and the Italian cardinals for almost 11 months, during which 6 cardinals died, no doubt from malaria. He had been elected a first time on February 15, 1288, but did not accept until after he had been elected a second time a week later. So there's that one. So here we got some more on Nicholas IV. No more than any other pope after Gregory X was able to receive the idea of the crusade. During his pontificate, the last remnant of the Christian crusade state, the fortress of Acre, fell to the Monarch Saturn of Egypt in 1290. Even at the late date, the outcome could have been different had the West availed itself of the opportunity and alliance from the Mongols against the Muslims, for which Innocent the Fourth and Saint Louis the Ninth of France had looked in vain. Now let's look at Nicholas V. Was anti-pope in Italy from 1328 to 1330, an assembly of priests and laymen in Rome under the influence of incoherent Emperor Louis IV of Bulgaria elected his Franciscan to the papacy during the Pontifex of John the 22nd, after John excommunicated him in April of 1329. Nicholas had obtained assurance of the pardon for sending an abjournal to the Pope at the Avignon at August the 25th, 1330. He remained an honorable personament in the papal place until his death on October 16, 1333. So, there is the 5 popes, and there is much more to each one of these popes, but I wanted y'all to see that Nicholas is something from the pagans. There we go. Trying to get it out. From the pagans. So, when they say it's Santa Claus, it's Saint Nick, it's pagan. It's talking about the Pope. So really, what are you doing there? Let's look at the word December. December, the 12th month of the modern calendar, has 31 days. As the same name shows, from Latin, decans, 10. It was the 10th month of the early Roman calendar, which began with March. The Romans celebrated the Saturia, Saturnalia, in December, and the ancient Celtic people had at this season a great midwinter festival yell. Some features of both survived the traditional observance connected with Christmas. Christmas itself seems not to have been organized as a festival by the early Christian church, nor was there at first agreement as to the date of the Nativity of Christ, January the 6th being grandly performed in the East. The winter solstice occurred about December the 21st. Now we can also go into all the calendars and stuff, but I wanted you to see this part. Alright, here we are with Saturn. So, this right here is probably going to be a little bit longer one. Alright, a Roman god, which cult was overlaid with the Greek future as an observed as the original native character. His name is commonly connected with the Latin status, and thus he is a god of sowing or seeds. The ancients themselves regard him as an important and acquainted him with the Greek Quirinus, which may well be connected. There is some logic evidence discarding the connection with status, that he came to Rome from Etheria, Etruria. So, further, he was worshipped in a Greek manner, with head uncovered and not wrapped in a toga, as was the Roman custom. The remains of the temple at Rome, 8 columns of the Pontus, still dedicated the west end of the Forum at the foot of the Callus Capitolis. The present remains are of the latter rebuilding, but it was the oldest temple whose building is recorded going back to the beginning of the Republic. We got Democrat and we got Republic. Oh my goodness. This is government crap. Think about it. Government crap. Oh. It serves as the treasury. Oh my goodness. Treasury. Think about it. Of the Roman state. Saturn's cult partner is the Asker goddess Lura, Lua, whose name is connected with Lucis. Pledge or destruction. Plagues or destruction. Oh my goodness. To whom captive arms are sometimes burned. But he was also assassinated with Opus, associated with Opus, the cult partner of Conus, through their identification with Rhea, wife of Cornelius. Okay, his great festival, the Sanhelia, became the most popular of the Roman festivals. Its influence is still felt throughout the Western world. Originally December the 17th, it was expanded to the first to the 3 and eventually to the 7 days. The date has been connected with the winter sowing season, which is a modern in Italy varies from October to January. Remarkably like the Greek Korea, it was the greatest festival of the year. All work and business were suspended. Slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they liked, and certain mortal reenactions were erased. The streets were infected with the Magi grass madness. A mocking king was chosen. The seasonal grading at Io Sahiria was heard everywhere. Presents were freely exchanged. Personally waxed candles and little clay dolls. The cult statue of Saturn himself, traditionally bound at the feet of the wooden bands, was united promiscuously to come out and join the fun. The influence of the Sahelia upon the celebration of Christmas and the New Year's has been directed. Oh, come on, people. Oh, this is something new to me. Certain the gift candles and the ancients had a quiet story that the old prophecy banned the earliest inhabitants of Latium, heads of Hades, and Philo to Saturn. They interpret this to mean human sacrifice, but that Hercules advised using lights, post meaning lights, or man according to account, not human heads. Another tradition regarding Saturn, forced chiefly by the poets, made him an early Italian king, or perhaps Cornus is fight from Zeus, who establishes Italy a new height of civilization, a golden age. Saturday, of course, was named for Saturn. Okay, so now we know that part of it is a Greek god. That Saturn is a Greek god. Now, why? People, think about it. Quit doing Christmas. God's going to punish you. Well, I think it's long enough, and I think I've said enough to show that Christmas ain't what it seems to be. And let me just put in another note. Everybody thinks that America was founded on Christianity, and that America did its own thing. Unfortunately, it shows that it didn't. I mean, every holiday that we have here in America has something to do with the pagans. We, as Americans, do not even have not one holiday that we have made up for ourselves. And I'm talking about like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or anything like that. Nothing that we have dedicated to God. As far as I know, and I'm not really 100% sure, it'd be something that I have to look into on a later date. You know, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and stuff like that. But as far as any days that we actually set aside for God, there ain't none.